Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're making a healthy recipe. Since it's autumn, we're gonna be taking advantage of the vegetables of this season, the pumpkin mainly, the autumn, the queen of the autumn, and the mushrooms. This is the, how do you call this? Castanea mushrooms, which is, geez, what's the song called? The Christmas song? Chestnuts. We have chestnuts, mushrooms here, and we have pumpkin. That's what you need. So we're going to be making a delicious and a healthy recipe with these two main ingredients: the chestnuts, mushrooms, the pumpkin, and the, what's the name of the aubergine, Mike? Eggplant. Yeah. So this is what you need. This is going to be more than enough for two persons, and for that, I will be using 400 grams of pumpkin, 400 grams of chestnuts, mushrooms, one whole eggplant, two shallot onions. You need a bunch of fresh coriander. You need chicken thighs. I'm not going to gross you out, so I'm not going to point the camera too long at it, but you need about 150 per person, so about between 300 grams and 400 grams of chicken thighs. Then you need virgin olive oil. For the spices, we're gonna need just a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of black pepper. You can either grind it freshly or use black pepper powder, a little bit of paprika powder, a little bit of cumin, and we're also gonna need sunflowers. How do you say that? This comes from the sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds. So that's going to be about 10 grams per person. So for me and Mike, two persons, I have here between 20 and 30 grams. I always like to add a little bit more just because I love these so much. So as always, very basic ingredients, nothing too rare or too special. So let's just start. So guys, before we start doing anything, just clean and chop in small pieces the shallot onions, the eggplant, and the mushrooms, and then of course the chicken thighs. Clean them to get rid of all the extra fat that's on there. Just clean the meat thoroughly, and then cut it in small pieces that you don't have to use the knife for. To cut it when it's ready. So just cut it in just nice portions that you can prick with your fork. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna do, and then coming back to you. The onions, of course, just chop them as you normally would with normal onions. I'm gonna teach you guys that. I mean, sure, most of what I'm telling here you already know. Just giving you some guidelines if you happen to not to be that good with cooking. So first we're gonna heat up 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Once it's a little bit warm, we're gonna add the chopped onions, and then fry them a little bit. And meanwhile, we're gonna be cleaning the meat, like I said, and the mushrooms. Chop everything because pretty much everything's gonna go in there, and just let it simmer for 25 minutes. That's what we're gonna do. But the only thing we need to be careful with is that first we really need to fry the onions a little bit. Then we need to fry the chicken meat that we will be adding to it a little bit, and then add the rest, and then just let it simmer. So still frying the onions. The way it works with onions, you guys, if you have a sensitive stomach but you do love onions in your recipes, then the best thing you can do is always make sure they're fried thoroughly. You don't have, of course, to let them burn, but have them as brownish, goldish as possible. And make sure that when you tap them with your spoon, that you can feel that they're not solid anymore, but that they're very soft. That way, you get rid of most of the water that's in there, the juice, and the air that onions contain. That way, if Like again, like I said, if you have a sensitive stomach, they won't hurt you as much. So that's what I'm gonna do. Then fry them a little bit long. Make sure they're all soft and between brownish and goldish before I add the chicken. So this is just on normal heat, because if you, the thing is with onions, if you do the heat too high, they're gonna burn before they get the chance to get rid of their juices and become soft. So this one we're gonna be doing on normal heat, but once we add the chicken we're gonna be doing on a little bit of how do you say that? High heat. Fry the chicken on high heat. So like I said, I just added the chicken. The onion was good for me. Just added the chicken, and the chicken needs to be fried on high heat. And just keep stirring it until it gets rid of all the pinkish color. We want the chicken to be at least white from every angle. Your pieces of chicken. At least white. It can be a little bit goldish, but at least white. Definitely no pinkish colors left. So one of you once asked me that whenever you make chicken, you see that the chicken really creates a lot of juice. One thing that usually causes that is if the chicken is not defrosted really well. So every time I make something with meat, unless I forget of course, but every time I make a recipe with meat, I always make sure that the meat is at least the night before out of the freezer and in the upper half of the fridge, so that it can defrost on its time, has enough time to defrost, get rid of all the ice and all that, and then you get left with a nice piece of meat, whatever that is, so that when you try to work it in your recipe and try to fry it like I'm doing right now, it will get scorched and has that really nice coating on the outside. This is also the moment where you give your chicken, the meat, whatever you're making, the flavor before you add the water and the rest of the ingredients. This is where the flavor happens. This is where you encapsulate the flavor. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of spices just in a bit. And then after that, once you fry the meat with the spices, only then you can add the rest of the ingredients and then mix the whole thing together. But then at least you're ensured that your meat has encapsulated the spices and thus the flavor. So that's what happens here, right here in this phase. So if you prefer fresh garlic, just take one clove of garlic, chop it nice and fine, add it in here, and then lower the heat a little bit, and then let it fry with what you have so far for at least a minute. But I'm not going to work with fresh garlic just because I can handle it really well. I'm going to be adding a little bit of garlic powder, just a little bit, a pinch. So just added the garlic powder, or in your case, if you're working with fresh garlic, add that, and then lower the heat, let it fry, and just let it get flavors. Let it suck all the flavors that you have in there of the onion and the garlic. Trust me, you're almost there. I mean, I could just eat this on a sandwich just like that, with a little bit of lettuce maybe, and it will be delicious. So just let it mingle for now. Meanwhile, I'm gonna continue cleaning the eggplant and the mushrooms and chop them, because we're almost there, you guys. This is the easy part about this recipe. You just dump everything in there from this point and then let it simmer together, cook together. So the cleaning and the chopping of the other vegetables took me longer than a minute, which is okay in this case, because that only means the chicken, look at that, had even more time to roast in this skillet. Look at this. It smells so good. Looks so good. That's the color we want. The crust we want on the chicken thighs. Now, we're gonna add the whole thing in there. Gonna add the whole thing in there and then add all the spices that we have. Okay? So that means the pumpkin, the chopped eggplant, and this is going to be go wrong. I feel it. I feel it. No. Oh, and the chopped mushrooms, the chestnut mushrooms, and the eggplant. Now we're gonna be mixing them little by little because at this point they're too much, but they're gonna shrink. So wait for them to shrink a little bit, and then add all the spices and mix the whole thing together, and then put the lid on it and let it simmer. So I just added all the spices. Don't worry, you'll find the whole thing in the description below, the recipe and ingredients. And now I'm gonna mix them. And like I said, put the lid on it and let it simmer for, I don't know, it differs. It really depends on how hard the vegetables are, you know, and which one vegetable is not the other. So, but between 20 and 24, maybe even 30, just keep checking until, you know, it really has to do with your own personal preferences. Just check until you see that the vegetables are soft enough for you, the way you like them. And then it basically is ready because the chicken was already fried thoroughly, as you saw. It even had those brownish, like dark brownish ends. So the chicken is ready. Plus the chicken will be simmering even further, even longer. So it really has to do with giving the vegetables at this point the chance to cook. And like I said, check them between 20 and 25, or maybe even between 25 or 30 minutes to see if they're soft enough for you, if they're cooked well enough for you. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it simmer on not completely low heat, but more like the direction of low heat. And put a timer for 25 minutes. If you're wondering about the fresh herb, in this case the coriander and the sunflower seeds, don't worry, I didn't forget about them. These will be the things that we'll be garnishing the food with. So just chop your coriander, and have your sunflowers at the ready. And then once you scoop up, garnish them on top with these two ingredients. So there it is. It's almost ready. The pumpkin is soft enough. Speaking of sensitive stomach, if you guys have sensitive stomach, then you definitely do not want your vegetables to be still too hard. That's just one of the things you need to be careful of. You'll see that at the end of almost 20 minutes, the vegetables gonna get rid of their juices. So what you can do, I don't like these kind of dishes to have a lot of fluid, a lot of juices. So what you can do is get rid of it in one of these thingies and then put it back for maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, just to give it that wok flavor, just to give it the wok texture. So get rid of all the juices and then put it back and let it wok a little bit longer. All right, so there it is. I just tasted. Love it. So this is not meant to dazzle yourself or your guests by the way this presentation looks. This is mainly meant as a healthy meal. So I hope I'm inspiring you to get into the healthy thing. We've shared smoothies with you, and now this, and guys, it's really working. Me and Mike already lost about 1.5 kilos since a couple of months since we're trying to do this. So it can be done, and just put this in that spirit, okay? So again, this is not meant to dazzle you with the presentation. This is just meant mainly as, which is more important, as a healthy dish. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and keep coming back. And we have a lot of videos that you can enjoy. So check them out. If you've tried it, please let us know how yours came out. And thank you so much for watching. For me and Mike, enjoy. And I'll see you guys in the next video, God willing. All right? Have a beautiful day.